Hi Aquarius. So let's do a love reading for you. We're going to do a 4-layered spread using 2 tarot decks and 2 oracle decks to try to get as much of the energy about you and this person that we can. So we're starting with the 4 of Swords, King of Cups, the Sun, 6 of Pentacles, Knight of Pentacles, the Magician, the Emperor, the Wheel, King of Wands, and finally 9 of Swords. Underneath this deck, we have the Queen of Pentacles. So then we're going to do another layer. We're going to use 6 cards. Okay, Romance just really wanted out, so we're going to take that. So we have acquisition, originality, achievement, revenge, convention. Underneath this deck, we have power. So then we're going to get 6 of these tarot cards next. We have the Moon, Queen of Wands, Temperance, Queen of Pentacles, Justice, 3 of Swords. Underneath this deck, we have the Fool. And then we're going to get 2 of these big picture oracles. And then we're really going to get into this for you, Aquarius. So we have the Cross and we have the Lion. And underneath this deck, we have the Lilies. This energy is big, Aquarius. So what I know already, just based on the surface energy, this is a very divinely guided situation because you have karmic debt and karmic spaghetti that needs to be untied. I feel like with this Moon in Scorpio under the deck here, there's a power struggle between the two of you. And I feel like that's part of what needs to be learned here is releasing control, perhaps in a relationship, at least for one of you. I am seeing the Emperor on your person's side. So there could be control issues on your person's side, but there's not enough nurturing in this situation, not enough trust, not enough spiritual wisdom. It feels very constrictive, very controlling, and a power struggle. So not enough faith in the universe, not enough faith in your intuition, not enough faith in each other, perhaps, a lot of trust issues even, but that's just what I have from the surface. So let's really try to get into this and see what comes through. So the energy that exists between the two of you is the Wheel, Mars in Scorpio with revenge, Justice, and the Lion. There's a lot of hard feelings that exist between the two of you. We're getting revenge and the Lion. There's anger perhaps that exists between the two of you. There may be karmic justice coming in hot in this situation, but it does feel like you're both dealing with a lot of karma at the moment. This Wheel is really pushing you perhaps towards looking at your shadow side. If you do feel like you have trust issues, if you do feel a power struggle with this person, if you do feel like you don't want to take a risk on them, if you are feeling vengeful, if you are feeling angry about something that happened, I feel like your karmic justice is coming in because we have the Wheel and Justice. But it may be that there's more for you to learn here because we have the Lily underneath the deck and we have the Moon in Scorpio under the deck. And I do feel like instead of trying to control the situation, there's a need to really call on your own spiritual wisdom. There is a huge opportunity here for a spiritual awakening, a spiritual upgrade with the Lily if you put aside the need to control and put your faith more in the universe and in the situation. In your person's feelings, we have the Magician and achievement. So again, this is not giving a really great feeling. This is a feeling of, this is the Moon in Capricorn. And it's really giving this idea that your person, it feels more like controlling the situation or manipulating the situation, making it work more in their favor. But I'm getting the sense that your person's not feeling a whole lot of inner balance. They're not feeling whole. So because they don't feel whole, they feel the need to manipulate the situation and perhaps control the situation. Their actions towards you are the Emperor and the Queen of Pentacles. So this is an interesting combination because the Queen of Pentacles is saying that they would like to bring to you some nurturing feelings. They would like to bring to you stability. But yet with the Emperor, again, I can't help but feel that there is some shadow aspect. There's some inner part of them that still is holding back or needs to control the situation, have control in the situation. Perhaps even they feel like they have to be disciplined when it comes to this in your relationship. So it's just not a really great feeling overall for a love reading, that it feels like they almost control when they nurture you and when they hold back. And that could be part of their manipulation, is coming forward and then giving you just enough to hang on, but then pulling their energy back again in order to feel like they have more control of the situation. In your feelings, we have the Nine of Swords and Venus in Capricorn with convention. So you're stressed. You're totally stressed about this. And I feel like with this convention card is you're not really seeing outside of the box. You're only seeing this perhaps in one way. But there is an opportunity here for you to learn spiritually from this connection. This might not be your forever person. I don't know yet. We're going to keep going and see. But certainly this person is in your life for a spiritual reason. And I think you're meant to sort of break out of this conventional thinking that you have to change this person, or you have to change for this person, or you have to have this power struggle with this person. This more feels like this is an opportunity for you to see, okay, how can I do this differently? How can I expand spiritually? Why is this happening to me? And what am I meant to learn from it? So your actions towards this person is the King of Wands and the Three of Swords. So again, I'm getting this sense that with this Three of Swords, that you're feeling kind of hopeless in this situation, that you're feeling a lot of despair. You could feel like you're falling apart, but yet you're putting forward this confidence. You're putting forward like it's almost, I feel like you are coming across inauthentic. You're showing up with this person like everything is fine. I like this relationship. Everything is great. But honestly, there's something here that needs to be healed. And I think it's from both of you. If I'm reading these cards correctly, I think there is healing that needs to be done for both of you. And the King of Wands, you're coming forward as a King of Wands. They're coming forward as an Emperor. And this is that power struggle. These two people are coming through with ego and control and trust issues, and they're bumping heads, and it's a power struggle. And that feels pretty clear so far. So if this feels like your energy, if you feel like you're bumping heads with someone, if you feel like there's a lot of conflict, if you feel like you're stressed out, if you feel heartbroken, if you feel like this is going nowhere, if you feel hopeless about this, then this is definitely your reading. Once we get to this top layer, maybe we can figure out more of what's going on, the reason why this is happening, perhaps what you can do about it. But at least you'll know so far, Aquarius, if this is your reading, because it does feel like a power struggle. We see power at the bottom of this deck, staring me straight in the face, not enough nurturing. Or if there is nurturing, it's only a little bit at a time just to try to keep you hanging on. So your person sees you as the King of Cups and the Moon. So your person sees you as having a lot of love, being very deep, having a lot of depth, perhaps when it comes to this person. But with the Moon, I think they see you as being even somewhat fearful, maybe those trust issues we were talking about. But I think they're also seeing you with this particular combination. They see you as being kind of bitter towards the situation, which you probably are. You're showing up as a Three of Swords and a Nine of Swords. And so I'm wondering, I mean, I do think that they're seeing you correctly in the sense that you are bitter, that you're uncertain with the Moon about what the future holds for you and this person, because it feels to me like they are purposefully being confusing, because they fluctuate between the Emperor and the Queen of Pentacles, making you feel safe, but then making you feel controlled at the same time. So you see them as the Six of Pentacles and Temperance. You see them as asking way too much and not doing their part. You see them as Temperance, where I know that you know that they can do more, but they're not. They're refusing to do more. They're putting more of a strategy into this situation than they are their heart, their love. To me, this more feels like they're playing, instead of like a long game of love, they're playing like a long game of chess. Like they're thinking their next move through instead of putting in the work and putting in the effort of emotions. I say all the time, the hardest part of relationships is the emotional part. Everything else is easy and fun. When you're together, when you're having fun, when you're doing the things you have in common, when you're connecting, when you have chemistry, all of those things are the fun parts. But then once you get to the emotional part, it becomes harder. Emotions are some of the hardest parts to process and to maturely interpret and go through. So I do feel like you are expecting more from your person. You know they can give you more, but they're not. They're asking a lot of you. It's very imbalanced with the Six of Pentacles. My cat wants out. Just 1 second. Okay, so their intentions are the Four of Swords and romance. Deep down, they want to love you. Deep down, they want to bring you this temperance that you need from them, that you know they have the potential to do. Deep down, they want this, but I don't think they're going to bring that to you. They want to do the healing work. They want to bring the romance. You probably have asked them many times to be more romantic, is what I'm getting from this. But there's this refusal to do it. They bring you a little bit, but then they control you again. They bring you a little bit and they control you again. But deep down, they don't want to do that. Deep down, they want to strike out and be romantic and relinquish the control and offer you the things that you want. But I just get the sense that they don't feel that they can do that, at least not at this time. Deep down, their intentions are good, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day if they're not actually bringing that to you. So your intentions are the Knight of Pentacles and originality. I think that you're still contemplating whether or not this is even your person. I think that you are still willing to do the work and roll up your sleeves and certainly stay loyal to this person. I feel like you're feeling kind of ambitious about this, that you know that this is going to require a lot from you, a lot of work from you, but you also feel optimistic. So you want to continue to take action towards this. You're still trying to manifest this person, but you know it's going to require a lot of management. This is like a high maintenance type of person that you're dealing with. So there is a part of you too here with originality, which is Mercury in Aquarius, which is your sign, that there's this feeling coming through where, because you're Aquarius, I think that you're still keeping your options open. You're still thinking, yeah, there could be someone else out there for me. But I also think because you're Aquarius that you are starting to think outside of the box. We have this originality and convention card, which are really two separate energies. Capricorn energy is very different from your Aquarius energy. And so I do feel like you are thinking outside of the box. You're thinking, why am I going through this? What is my spiritual lesson? Why is this happening? Why is the universe squeezing me like this? Why am I in such a burdensome relationship? Why am I stressed? Why am I in despair? Why? And you start asking yourself those things. And because you, Aquarius, are highly original and you have a lot of ingenuity, it feels to me like you are going to start processing this and getting those answers. Why? Why is this happening? So finally, let's look at the energy that is really keeping the two of you together and see if we can try to explain this. So we have the Sun, we have acquisition, we have the Queen of Wands, and we have the Cross. So the Cross is very much telling me that whether or not the two of you like being in this relationship with each other, it's your cross to bear. This is your karma. And I said that immediately, that this feels very karmic, that you have some karmic spaghetti that you're meant to untie. This person is in your life to teach you something, and you're on your way to figuring out what that is. I don't really believe that this is your person, at least not until they do that healing, but they don't really feel like they're going, the cards are not saying that they're going to bring you this romance and the healing. They want to do it, but they're not doing it. They continue to control the situation and give you just enough to keep you hanging on. This acquisition card is making me very nervous. This is the Sun in Taurus card, which is about, it almost feels to me like this person just feels successful and that they acquired you, right? So they give you just enough to keep you hanging on, and that's very ego-based. We're getting the Sun and the Queen of Wands, which can be two very ego-based energies. These are both energies of Leo that really empowered and confident, but sometimes overconfident, especially if we have the cross. So it feels like this person, like every time they get you back or pull you back into their energy, it's like they pat themselves on the back. Like, oh, see, I knew they wouldn't leave. I knew Aquarius would come back. I knew Aquarius wants me still. So it's kind of this like cocky energy that's coming from the Sun acquisition and the Queen of Wands. And so I do feel like this is a karmic lesson for you to understand your own self-value and to say, I don't need to be treated like this anymore. I don't need to be pushed and pulled around to feed this person's ego. And that's where I feel like this originality and convention are going to come in very strongly and helpful for you, Aquarius, for you to say, hold on, I deserve a lot more. This person is not showing me any reason that they are changing. I believe your karmic spaghetti, Aquarius, is to understand your own self-worth and that you don't deserve to be treated this way. You don't deserve to be given a few things to pull you back in only to be controlled and manipulated. You do not deserve that. And you know that, and it's starting to dawn on you with originality. I love that we have Mercury in Aquarius here because that is you. This is such a good way to define you. And I do think that you are starting to break out of these confines. You're starting to break out of these conventional ways of thinking about this, and you are starting to awaken spiritually to why this is happening to you so that you can grow, so that you can expand. And honestly, I see you moving on from this once you get that breakthrough of this is definitely not it. This was meant to awaken me. This was meant for my growth. So there you go, Aquarius. That is your love reading. Will you please let me know how this was resonant for you? Consider subscribing to the channel if you like my vibe, and we will do this again sometime. Thanks, everybody. Bye.